Guys, we have a gigantic update on Pokemon Champions. They listened, they're making the changes we asked for and that we want. That's awesome. We're going to dive right into it. Welcome back to Bros and Badges. I am Zach, and I'm joined by...
I'm Joe. What's good?
What's up, y'all? And yes, there was a big developer meeting that happened recently with producer Masaaki Hoshino. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm probably not. You can scare me in the comments. That's fine. Anyway, he had a lot to say about the game, features that they are working on, and features that will be coming soon. This is not an immediate update, so we don't know exactly when some of these updates are going to come, but rest assured they are coming. And this is essentially what he had to say. It's all like translation. It was in Japanese, so this is the best translation we have, which is why I take some of it with a grain of salt, because even though some of these things are coming, he might have said them in a way that got mistranslated, so it might not be exactly that, but we're going to do our best to kind of decipher some of what was said here at the developer meeting. So for those of you who don't know, Masaaki Hoshino, I think I'm saying that right. Probably not, actually, I know I'm not. He said that he worked on Unite. So he took a lot of what he learned on Pokemon Unite, which is obviously a very mobile game. You can play it on your Switch as well, but it is pretty mobile heavy. And he wanted to bring a lot of what he learned on that game into Pokemon Champions, which I think is great. That's a very popular game. It's streamlined, and Pokemon Champions is indeed a streamlined VGC Pokemon battling experience. And so, Joe, just to quickly highlight some of the things he said, and then we can dive into some deeper. He talked about how there will be arenas coming, new arenas. Woo! I'm so excited about this.
Let's go.
Honestly, this was the one that I least expected that they were actually going to do, and he made a point to say, no, yeah, we're working on new arenas. They will be coming. Again, he didn't say when, but that's super exciting. I guess currently they're referring to the arena that we do have in Champions and the ranked matches as the Sphere Arena. He said he's very happy with that, but he also said that they are working on even more visually exciting arenas, and those were basically his words, so I'm very excited about that. That's rad. What kind of arenas we could see, hard to say. I think someone translated and said that like there actually was going to be a more like stadium looking arena, and he said that. Again, take that with a grain of salt because there's some different translations on what he said. That's one of the ones I'm a little less sure about, but that would be pretty cool if there was more of an official like Pokemon Stadium looking arena. It kind of looked like the visuals they were showing looked kind of like the one in Super Smash Brothers, like the actual like stadium that you fight in, so that looks pretty cool. We'll see if that comes to fruition. He talked a lot about the kind of like intention behind this game and how it was created for new players to be able to jump in, dive in head first, be able to experience some quick Pokemon battles. He said in Pokemon Unite, they went from kind of the MOBA game, which usually runs around like 20-ish minutes, and he wanted to keep it like 10 minutes. But he said feedback on that game is a lot of people still think 10 minutes is too long. And so then that's why in Champions, they really aimed for a like 4 to 5 minute gameplay loop. With the battles, and that's why like the input lag has been reduced, and there's a lot of just updates to make things streamlined and go a little bit quicker. And he said that their average is around 3 to 4 minutes per battle. I don't know about you guys. I don't always have that experience. I've definitely had some battles that like went closer to like 6 to 10 minutes, but I also play against a lot of meta players who try to just stall out and try to get me to rip more of my hair out. But anyway, so yeah, they've really streamlined it. They want it to be accessible. That was like the big takeaway from this developer interview, was that they wanted it to be very streamlined and accessible and easy for like new players. And I think they have done that. That's also why he said, yes, there will be new items coming. Yes, there will be new Pokemon coming. Again, more arenas coming. And new gimmicks eventually. He said all of these things are coming, but they are being very careful because they don't want to scare away new players as yet. Whether you like that sentiment or not, that is what they're going for. They don't want to scare new players away with too many things all at once. He said if they had 1,000+ Pokemon and a giant item pool to start, it would turn off a lot of players, and that was not their intention. So they are being very intentional about slowly adding more items, slowly adding more Pokemon. That's the same reason why they don't have not fully evolved Pokemon in the game. They don't have Eviolite. Which is a reason a lot of people use like Dusclops and Clefairy, because it can raise their defense of not fully evolved Pokemon. Those are some popular ones. There are other ones for sure. But he did say, again, even not fully evolved Pokemon such as those will eventually be coming, but they're just doing it in a way that is a slow rollout so that they don't turn off new players. I think these are all good things. He did say eventually legendaries are going to be making their way. That might be for a limited time. You might only be able to use them for a limited time in certain ranked matches with the regulations, etc. So we don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but they will be coming. Another thing he briefly touched on was how a lot of people have been asking for a replay feature in the game to replay their matches, and he made it sound like graphically and with the system that would be a really, really hard thing technically to do. Someone translated him basically saying that like they would be replaying old features in the game, like old visuals and stuff, almost making it sound like they're going to be continually updating the visuals. And so that's also why the replay feature would be kind of a weird thing, which is very interesting. So more to come on that. We'll see. But he also said that eventually there will be like player hosted matches and tournaments that you can run. That's another feature they're working on. But yeah, very cool stuff. That's kind of the bulk of it. But Joe, any questions, any thoughts on all of this? And I know it's a lot to take in, but that's kind of like what their plans are. Oh, actually, wait, one more. This is a big one. I forgot one of the biggest ones. Someone translated that he said essentially every 3 months they're going to be having new Pokemon and new items make appearances. So that's pretty cool, which would then, like we assumed, lead us to believe that maybe sometime in June, maybe July at the latest, we will see new Pokemon and new items. So yeah, there are items coming, there are new Pokemon coming. Whether that's a giant pool of items and Pokemon, I kind of doubt it based on everything else he said. And it does sound like, at least for the gimmick, they're playing it very close to the chest, very careful to not ostracize new people. So I would assume the gimmick is a little ways out based on how he was talking about it. But yeah, those are the major updates. New Pokemon, new arenas, new items. They're all coming soon. New ways to play the game, new ways to host tournaments, etc. This is pretty cool stuff. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I think this basically just solidifies everything that we thought about Champions. You know, we've been covering it since before launch, through launch, and up until now. And, you know, we have a lot of conversations about what's coming, what we're looking forward to. We have a lot of audience engagements of them telling us their experiences, and we obviously have our experiences to go off of. And I think this just made sense, right? This is pretty much everything that we expected. We figured that everything was limited because they wanted to kind of streamline the competitive Pokemon experience. And I mean, look, from older players and people who just kind of want to complain, about a new Pokemon thing, it was a point of contention that there weren't more Pokemon, there weren't more items. I mean, even between us, we kind of agreed that some items missing were a little bit egregious, a little bit more on the why would you do that side of things rather than it seeming calculated. But I think ultimately when we discussed these things and we kind of saw it from their side, it just made sense that they wanted to make a game that is accessible to everyone. I mean, this is the first like major Pokemon game in a style of Pokemon that everyone kind of already knows that is going to be cross-platform from mobile to Switch. So I think it just made sense that they limited their options, right? They're letting everybody get in on the ground floor. We're seeing this. I know a lot of people are complaining about this regulation change. They were expecting more from it. To that, I say, I think people were just kind of going in thinking that this was going to be a bigger update than it was. When really all it is to get people to understand how regulations work. Because as, you know, a couple years down the line, we're going to start seeing Pokemon get banned for certain sets, and we're going to see things change and move a lot more. So I think it was really smart of Game Freak and the Pokemon Company to roll it out the way they did. They gave us a little under 200 Pokemon. They were like, play with this, understand how this works. We're going to show you how a regulation change is going to happen mid-season, and everyone's really just going to understand what is going to come of Pokemon Champions in the later seasons. That way, once we do get more Pokemon, we do get more items, we do get more gimmicks, it's not so much for people to learn, you know? So I think in terms of that stuff, it just made sense. It feels fantastic hearing it from somebody who's working on it, because, you know, at the end of the day, the Pokemon Company does have a habit of kind of, we give them the benefit of the doubt, and it turns out that they're just not thinking about the stuff that we're thinking about. But it does seem that this was a calculated move. Even down to them trying to figure out the perfect length of a match. I will say, similar to you, it's not always hitting that 3 to 4 mark, but it is one of those games that you can quickly jump in. Like, there are a lot of moments where I'll have a match whether I win or lose, I'm ready for the next match right away. So I think their head is in the right space there. It seems, like I said, just very calculated. It seems like they know not to just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. It seems like they have a game plan, and that stuff is just, again, it's really nice to hear someone on the inside kind of claim the things that we were theorizing and really trying to make sense of. And as far as the extra stuff, I think the fact that they even thought about alternate stadiums is just incredible to me. And we kind of spoke briefly outside of this recording about stuff like you had mentioned that he was asked about whether HoloWare from Pokemon Unite would make its way into Pokemon Champions, and it did seem like that was pretty much off the table, which does make sense. But the good thing is that since this is someone who is coming from a mobile game that has that level of customization, it just gives me kind of more excitement, because I know when it comes to standard Pokemon games, there is a little less customization when it comes to stuff like that. So I was kind of weary of thinking whether more stadiums were going to come or not, because that's just something that I could see Game Freak not doing. But since this is a person who is a mobile game developer, someone who is clearly in the space with years of work behind them, it seems like he understands, like, hey, this is, he's proud of the sphere. It's obviously something that they worked hard on. It has a strong aesthetic, but even him recognizing and being like, yeah, we want to bring more exciting battlefields to it. I think this is all good stuff. This is, and that's something you don't really get from Pokemon developer, sit downs. He's not apologetic about anything. It really comes off more as like, yes, we've heard all of these things. All of this is in development. We're just being smart about it. And I think that is awesome to hear. And we kind of, like I said, theorized that this was going to be the case, considering this is looking to be the new competitive standard for Pokemon going forward. So it was either it evolves with the times, or we just stick to mainline battles. So it seems like they're going to be evolving it, especially if we're getting that 3-month update every 3 months. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it personally, Zach. I think it's all great news. It confirms a lot of like what we were talking about, and I think it's working. I think their plan of how they're doing it, we've had so many comments, like a huge amount of comments of people saying like this is their first time, like they're Pokemon fans, but this is their first time dabbling in competitive play, and it's been so much more welcoming since it's limited, so for the people who want new Pokemon, it's coming. We're going to get them. For the people who want more items, it's coming. We're going to get them. But for now, like, let's just enjoy this, this landscape, because it seems like it's going to be ever evolving. And I'm just excited for what's to come next. What about you, Zach? Is there anything in this particular, obviously I know the stadium stuff, but is there anything in this particular that, made you more excited to hear or more weary? Like how are you feeling outside of all this?
I feel great, man. I mean, like you said, arenas is the biggest one for me. I'm so glad they're adding new ones. I don't know why. For some reason, people even in the comments were always like, oh, it's gonna happen. But I did not think it was going to happen. I was just kind of like, this just sounds like wishful thinking, which sounds dumb. Like, they should add them, of course. But for some reason, I'm just so used to, like, Game Freak and the Pokemon Company being like, oh, well, that's not something we have to do. Whereas this one, he was just blatant, like, no, yeah, they're coming. I'm like, heck yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So I'm super excited about that. I'm tired of seeing the same environment over and over and over again. On the note, you mentioned about, like, kind of limitations and restrictions. Another thing he did say that I thought was interesting was that, according to him, he said that he thinks limitations are a good thing, forcing people to be like, okay, these are the Pokemon I have to work with. What team can I build? What can I make out of this? He says those restrictions actually encourage more creativity sometimes, and so he likes those. That could also just be PR speak for we don't want to put in work so much, but hey, they slid it in a way that makes it sound like this was all super intentional. And I don't know, the way he talks about it, like, it does, at the very least, it does sound like most of what happened is completely his intention. So I'm like, okay, interesting. You got a reason for it. That's fair. As someone who is fairly new himself to Pokemon VGC, I also do kind of like some of these limitations and these restrictions, because it means there's less I have to think about, and I can grow with it the same way that people for who knows how long, have been growing with VGC. Now as a new player, I get to kind of grow as they add new Pokemon, new gimmicks, new items, etc. And so it is kind of nice. I actually like those restrictions and those limitations a little bit myself. But yeah, very excited about this. Another last thing he did say that I just now remembered was he also briefly, he got asked about how this is going to like line up with like new games like Legends ZA, Arceus, then of course Winds and Waves coming out in terms of the battle system. And like he stressed very much the point of this game was to keep turn-based battling forever. Like this is a place to keep turn-based battling, and then once again reiterating on the fact that yes, that means that the other games can then iterate how they see fit. Someone asked him if there would still be ranked matches and ranked battles coming out of like Winds and Waves and stuff like that, and he just said people obviously these games are going to have a big focus on battling. There always will be. They'll be innovating in their own ways, but he didn't come outright and say there was still going to be ranked potential in that, although he didn't say no, so it could be interesting to see what Winds and Waves does. I think people were kind of fishing and asking him if they were going to introduce some kind of like real-time battling or other battle mechanics into Champions. And he also didn't really answer too much on that. He kind of shifted around that too. So, I mean, I would have thought he would just be like, no, like this is only turn-based. Interesting to say the least. It does sound like other cards on the table, but he also, once again, his biggest thing was this is where turn-based is going to live. So do with that what you will. I think it's very exciting. All these updates, all these changes in the works. Very excited about it. But guys, let us know in the comments what you think. Is this stuff you've been asking for, you're waiting for? Is this too little, too late? You know, is this not enough to get you to stay in Champions or to keep you excited or to adopt Champions if you have not yet become a Champions player? But guys, this is all good stuff for me. Don't know exactly when all this is going to take place and drop, but I would expect sooner than later for some of these, especially for new mons, new items, you know, new arenas. Very excited about it. And just looking forward to June. I think mobile's coming. Again, he made a big point about mobile players. Like this is accessibility for them too. He saw in Unite that mobile was a huge part of that game. And so yes, Champions, a huge part of this game is going to be for mobile players as well. That's a big focus of theirs. So yeah, it's all in the works. I'm excited, and we're going to keep making more content on it because we like talking about this stuff. Guys, actually, this was supposed to be an update video for my shirt. I got this new shirt. I don't know if you can see that.
It's a very nice shirt.
But Joe said I couldn't make a whole 20-minute video just talking about my shirt. So we decided to talk about Champions instead. Anyway, we will see you all on the next Bros and Badges podcast. Till then, peace out.